right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us today. We're going to open up with Coach Fuente for an initial remark, and then we'll roll from there. So here's Coach Fuente.
All right, thank you all for coming. Good afternoon. We just walked out of a very emotional and, quite honestly, well done team meeting by Coach Foster, where he informed our football team of his decision. As we go through this, I'm sure there'll be questions and things for us to talk about. But right now, I'm going to turn the mic over to Coach Foster for some remarks.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody coming, and appreciate the relationships we've had over the years with several of you. I know there's a lot of familiar faces here, and I can't thank you guys enough for how fair you've been in my time here, and I hope we'll keep that going. But I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this today. I think at the end, this thing's about our players and this football team, and that's where my focus is going to be. But I do have a couple things. I just, obviously, as Justin said, we just came from a team meeting, obviously very emotional, had an opportunity to visit with the staff. I mean, this is never an easy decision. It was my decision, and I can't thank Justin for allowing me the opportunity to continue on and be a part of this program, and I can't thank Whit enough for his support and him allowing me to do this my way. I mean, in this business, you don't get that opportunity very often. You don't get a chance to go out on your terms, and I've been very blessed to have this opportunity, and I can't thank you enough. I want to thank, Coach Beamer for giving me an opportunity to do some really special things and give me an opportunity to get a chance to experience a dream of a lifetime. And that's what makes this thing really, really hard. It's about the relationships you bond with, the players you meet, the people you meet, the fans, and it's just a special opportunity, and I can't thank him enough for giving me that. But it's time for me to step down at the end of the season. I'm not sick. I'm not burned out. At least I hope I'm not sick. Nobody's forcing me out. It's just going to be time when it's all said and done. Like I said, I've been getting a great opportunity. I saw Coach Beamer kind of go down this road. He knew it was time. This was not an easy decision. And I know Justin can talk about my focus is going to be on our players, but this has been something we've been talking about for several months, and talk closely with a lot of people close to my heart, and it's a decision I've made, and I've made it. And like I said, I've considered myself very fortunate in the end when it's all said and done. And like I said, I just told the team, whatever greatness is, I'm going to push them as hard as they can. I'm going to give them every ounce of energy that I have, and I'm going to expect that in return. And that's really what it comes down to. I love our players. I love this team. I love their focus. And our focus is going to be on this team and their season. We've got an opportunity we've got some great kids, and we've got an opportunity to do some special things. Excuse me. And I really feel good about them. And I can promise you I'm going to give them my very best for these next 120 days. There's going to be plenty of time to reflect and celebrate. Hopefully, at the end of the year, I hope there'll be some good and some bad things said. Hopefully, hopefully good, not much bad. But at the end, I'll be happy to sit down with you guys and talk about the process. But really, I hope you respect the fact that this thing's not about me. It's you're in this business about young people, about developing and preparing young people to be successful in the field, but hopefully be successful in life. And that's where my focus is. And I hope you guys respect that and appreciate that. And I owe it to our players, our fans, and Virginia Tech to do it that way. So, Justin, thank you so very much. Whit, thank you. And appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much.
At this time, I'd like to welcome Director of Athletics Whit Babcock to the podium.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's probably, perhaps a bit unorthodox to hear from the athletic director on Football Media Day. And Justin will be up soon, and we can get to the traditional stuff. And I know he'll talk about Bud and obviously this year's team as well. But today we felt was such a special and unique circumstance to recognize and honor a legendary coach while he's still going and at the top of his game. And ultimately, coaching is teaching. He's an outstanding teacher, and you just can't list the number of people that he's impacted their lives, not only on the field, but in life skills. So Coach Foster is a generational talent, maybe a multi-generational talent. And as athletic director, I had the good fortune, the blessing to work with one of those already in Coach Beamer, and now the honor to work with Coach Foster. I couldn't be more proud of them. 30 years is a long tenure. I guess he's the longest tenured assistant coach, and he's a Hall of Famer, and whatever Hall of Fames will come in the future. He's perhaps, or I don't think perhaps, he is the greatest ever at his craft of defensive coordinator. His leadership, when we give speeches, sometimes we talk about to lead. It comes down to the people that you lead have to know that you care about them, that they can trust you, and that you can make them better. And Coach Foster cared about his players. You saw that today, or we did back there. Very emotional, and he'll give them his all this year. He cares about them. They trust what he says because he's straight up, and what he says he backs up. And then the hope to make them better. How many young men and people we don't even know about is he made better? So the definition of a leader, and I certainly want to celebrate that. His loyalty, this sense of place, this Hokie land, he personifies it, and even that tough, strong Hokie stone. He's the fabric of this place. He's the brand. He's the icon. And I couldn't thank him anymore, there's not enough words to thank him appropriately. I'm also speaking a little bit today, as is Justin, at Bud's request. As Bud mentioned, he would love to go over everything, and this whole chapter, this last chapter will be done at the end of the year. And quite frankly, he said, Whit and Justin, I don't know if I can get through the team meeting, much less talking to the media, so we all say a few things, and we wanted to respect that. And I will also respect his privacy and all that, but that's where we are. Before all the nostalgia at the end of the year, again, we have a season to play. We're still writing this book I mentioned, and before there's any Bud Foster 30 for 30 programming, before we celebrate, let's let the book finish. There's all these chapters written. We have one more. Coach Foster wants that, Coach Fuente wants that, and our players of 2019 deserve that. So there will be celebrations, just like Bud said. And is today a sad day? Yes, in many ways, but it's also a celebration. I have not yet pondered my own retirement, but having watched my dad go through it, Coach Beamer go through it, Coach Foster, everybody seems to plan for the next job and the next achievement, but this retiring thing is hard to know when to do it. And his decision, Bud's, was not taken lightly. We had a number of conversations, and in each one of those conversations, as he was saying, hey, I'm pretty sure this is the way I want to go. Every single time we talked, he said, I feel so bad that I'm letting the players down, which he's not. Justin, I feel bad if I'm letting you down, which he's not. And even to me, and we said, Bud, if you want to coach, let's coach. But you have already gone so far above and beyond. You're not letting anybody down. Do what's right for you. And I also don't want to speak for him, but I believe getting that announcement out today was a huge weight off of his shoulders. And now he can go do what he loves and just coach football and give it his all. Another great sign of a leader and a successful person is if they leave it better than he found it. And he hasn't left it yet, but he's going to leave it a whole lot better than he found it. And Virginia Tech's bigger than all of us, but it'll be hard getting over Coach Beamer and now Coach Foster. But it'll move on, and he made it a lot better on all of us. So hopefully the Hokie family can be united. Let's celebrate it. Let's pull it together. Some people might ask why today versus the end of the season. I won't get into a ton of that. really, Bud didn't want it to be a distraction throughout the year. His contract was up. People would be asking for it, asking about it, and his unselfishness on the players and the team and what they deserved. And that's where he came to the decision to do it today. So at the appropriate time, like I said, during the season, we will find a way to honor him, celebrate him, a lot at the end of the season, some during. Just so you can get ready, Hokie fans, the Duke game, home game, we will honor the 1999 team, 20-year anniversary of that. The Pitt game will be for seniors, and that Wake Forest game will be Bud Foster night or whatever we call it, and we'll do some nice things. Maybe we'll even ask everybody to grow a goatee, and that's plenty of advance notice for people like me that take a while to grow one, but maybe we'll do that. So we will get there, and we will do that, and we will do it right, because transitions are important at Virginia Tech. This is home after all. Actually, that saying came from Bud. We had a marketing director come up with it, and then after the Military Bowl and the emotional interview after the game, during that speech, Bud got choked up and said, "This is home," and we know we had it. So in a way, he's also our brand champion. Bud will have a new role here. When he's done coaching, we're still shaping this up, still working on the number of years, 3 or 4 years, something like that, in a similar role to Coach Beamer. And it will not be a figurehead role. Coach Beamer's isn't. He works and does everything we ask. But Bud can be involved in the Drive for 25. He can be involved in fundraising. He can be involved in on-campus recruiting for all sports. He can coach our coaches. He can help with student-athlete development and young people transitioning in. He can be on the radio shows, the ACC network. He can be a liaison to all those former players that played for him. So he will have value here, and he will still be around. It just won't be with that play sheet hanging off his khakis every day. So he's taught me a lot. We love him. And today is a hard day, but a special day. And thank you for letting me speak about the greatest defensive coordinator ever. All right? I'll take, I guess, a couple questions. I think Pete said 2 or 3. And then it's Justin's show, and I will go back to the background and let him talk about Bud and this year's team, because we've got a lot to look forward to there as well.
Raise your hand. We've got microphones. Mr. Teal.
When did Bud first approach you about how long have you guys been working on this?
Yeah, and thank you. That is a very fair question. Quite honestly, I can't remember the date, and out of respect to Bud, I would just say it was over an extended period of time. It wasn't a real quick decision. We probably had 4 or 5 conversations, and it was always where he was at, and Justin was there, and it was a very small group, and I'll just leave it at that if it's okay.
Yeah, very few defensive coordinators command the salary of someone of Bud's stature. What kind of resources will you put to that post kind of going forward for Justin's next hire?
Yeah, sure. We'll talk about that and figure it out as we go. And Justin will get us the best defensive coordinator we can have. And we chuckled some about, Lord have mercy, whoever gets that job better have thick skin, because the first down or touchdown they give up, the whole fan base will go up in arms. So it'll be a good one. Have no idea what it takes to pay, but we believe in Virginia Tech, and we're going to compete and go get it. So time will tell on that. There's no decision even remotely close on that right now.
You mentioned Coach Beamer stepping down. Was that kind of the blueprint? Coach Foster mentioned it too. Just when you guys had these discussions, it seems like that the success you guys had in making that transition, how much do you think that impacted this today?
Yeah, that's a good point. And they're unique individuals, right? Coach Beamer is one and Bud is other. They share a lot of same traits. I don't know that it was a blueprint, but I do know that Coach Beamer and Bud talked a number of times about it. And if there ever was a roadmap for a nice transition, Coach Beamer did it. And I heard Bud say, you never really know when it's time, but Coach Beamer did, and he thought too. And I just know it was very hard on Bud, and his first focus was always the players. But he assured Justin and I, he goes, I dang sure got one more good one in me when he looks at you with those piercing eyes. So look out on defense this year.
Last one, Paul.
When Justin, hey.
Yes, sir.
When Justin had his introductory press conference, you sat down and talked with us and said that you were talking to Justin about defensive coordinators, and you said, Justin, you can hire whoever you want, but
yes,
boy, I think if Bud Foster is here and he's interested, he's the best one in the country. You had not been here that long. What was it about Coach Foster that made you think this is the guy to keep in the job and that he could stay in the job when he talked to you about being a head coach?
Yeah, 20 years, a pretty darn good track record, is a good place to start. And then just as we got to know him early on, his humility, his fabric, what he stands for, and he could have left Virginia Tech so many times, and you just don't run into that loyalty and humility. And he and Coach Fuente have an outstanding relationship, and that was kind of a no-brainer. If Coach Fuente was comfortable with it, we were thrilled to have him, and yeah, pretty long history there and track record to know how good Bud Foster was and is.
Thank you, Whit.
All right. Thank y'all, and have a good media day. And here's Coach Fuente.
Thanks, Whit. First, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I have nothing but a tremendous amount of love and respect for Bud and everything he means to Virginia Tech. I think I have a full grasp on that and the history and what he's meant to this place. And he has been fantastic to work with. I'm anxious to go work with him this year. I'm excited about what we've got going and how it's all going to go. He certainly earned the right to have say in how this all worked out, and I think it's going to work out really well. We do owe it to our team and our fans to draw the focus inward and make sure that we put our best foot forward for our young people that have been working so hard for this program. I know Bud will be anxious to talk about it after the season. I'm really admire him for how he handled today. To get up in front of those kids and talk as openly and as candidly as he did was a moving experience. So, all this being said, as a chance to celebrate a great career, I'm honored to have got to work with him, and looking forward to our football team and our staff and everything we've got moving forward. Questions?
Whit was asked a similar question, but just what did you get a sense when you guys started having these conversations that this is the way Coach Foster was leaning, and what was your kind of thoughts kind of throughout the summer and about the process?
I didn't really know which way it was going to go, quite honestly. I know that we wanted him here if he wanted to be here, and I've made that clear to him on multiple occasions. But I didn't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess everybody's different. Some people go to bed one night and wake up and make a decision. Some people think and reflect and talk to people and have conversations and all that sort of stuff. So this was certainly a long, drawn-out thought process, and one that I think he's come to peace with.
Justin, how much value can the emotional aspect of this, kind of like a win-one for the Gipper, or, the guys that are obviously iconic around here. So to announce it before the final season, how much of a positive emotional impact can that have?
Well, we did not do it to manipulate our players' emotions, first and foremost. What we did was to be honest and open. What our kids now have is a unique opportunity. Usually when a large event like this happens, you don't know about it till the end. Sometimes it's too late for you to even do anything about it. And that's certainly not the case here. We have an opportunity. We know the ending. Now we have an opportunity to write the chapter. And I don't think that point was lost on our players. I think they understand that we have an awesome opportunity to celebrate through our play and through our work. A fine man and fantastic coach.
Justin, you've been in the business long enough to understand that retaining someone from the previous staff, especially someone who aspired to be the head coach here, had inherent risks. How did Bud ease your transition here and help you?
Well, everybody knows the rules, right? You don't keep people on. You get rid of them. You don't follow the Hall of Fame coach. Like, you just know the kind of ground rules. But my first conversation, first time meeting Bud, and we've gone through this before, and I won't go all the way back through it, but the way he was in the living room, in my living room that day, is how he's been every day since I've been here. So how did he aid our transition? The ways to quantify it are obviously numerous, but the biggest thing he did was he threw his heart and soul into doing things slightly different, into a different practice schedule, a different work schedule, something different than he's had for many, many years. He was incredibly positive and supportive with our players and in and about and around town, and he was everything that you could ever want in terms of having somebody that is all in for the team. And I firmly believe that's why he's handled this the way he has for our team, for our kids, to get it out in the open, to deal with it in a short period of time, and then plow forward.
You have a really, really young defense still. What's the message? I mean, you said you have a special opportunity, but any concerns just about, to start the season off now you have this and just the pressure they might put on themselves? What's kind of the, how do you handle that with such a young group? Only, 2 scholarship seniors, I think, on defense.
Well, I mean, we need great leadership. I certainly don't think it needs to be a deal where we're wringing our hands because we're so bent up and pent up about pressure. We need to. These kids have already put a tremendous amount of work into this, leading towards what starts tomorrow. And the mission hasn't changed. The goal hasn't changed. The focus hasn't changed. Along the way, we know it's an extra special opportunity. And that's the way they've got to handle it.
Last one for Coach Norm.
Understanding that your full focus is on what you have to do here over the next 4 months of the season coming up. You're in the unique position now of knowing that you're going to have to find a new defensive coordinator. How do you balance what you have to do here in these next 3 or 4 months and then trying to fill a spot? Do you just, you got a couple off weeks this season to try to maybe get some things done, or are there things you can do to, make it easier for you and get the transition going here? I mean, obviously it's not like you can announce one during the season or anything. I'm just wondering how you go about it.
Well, and to be candid, I've been worried about today. And I'm not copping out of the question. I'm not sure is the answer to that. I don't know. I mean, certainly I'll put plenty of thought into what we need and what we're looking for. I don't think it's going to be a distraction for me as we go through the season. As a matter of fact, I know it won't. But I guess in short, I haven't gotten that far yet. And I've been really focused on today. Today's been a big day, obviously. And making sure we do things the right way has been at the top of our list.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet.
We'll continue with offensive coordinator Brad Cornelson.
I want to say, first of all, you always feel a little bit guilty on vacation in the summer, and when our guys, our players, and our strength coaches are up here, and the kind of work they put in. I'll tell you what, Coach Hilgert and his staff, along with a lot of other people, the trainers, Pete, the nutritionist. One of my favorite meetings of the year is when Coach Hilgert comes in to the staff meeting before fall camp, and he goes over every single player, shows us the before and after picture, talks about the way they've been working, and it's exciting. These guys have done a great job, the players, top to bottom, and the staff that's been here working those guys out. It's exciting to be back around them and starting to get ready to go. Just anxious to get going. Any questions?
Brad, quarterbacks often are judged by end of game situations, 2-minute drills, and such when the game is on the line. What did you and the staff learn about Ryan last season and how he played at the end of the game in Chapel Hill, here against Virginia, and then in the Military Bowl against Cincinnati?
Well, we knew the kind of talent that he had going into the season. He had shown us in practice that he had a skill set to make a lot of plays. What we didn't know was how he was going to take care of the ball, execute, handle himself in those situations. So, I think he's played enough football and he's been through enough of those situations that he understands the game and he understands what he needs to do in those situations. He's got good instincts when it comes to those sort of things in this game. So I think we felt good, from the very first start that he had and the way he played, and then some really close games throughout the season. He got better as the season went on. He wasn't perfect. He still has a lot of improvement he can make, but he showed us that he would take care of the ball as a whole throughout the season, and that was exciting because he's talented and can make plays, and excited about what he can continue to do.
With the quarterback competition and the running back competition, how are you handling reps? You got some new faces now, kind of from the summer. How do you kind of plan on splitting things up, especially initially?
It's usually pretty wide open initially. You got a lot of reps going around. You're installing. You got a lot of different groups going. You just got 3 groups going, so it'll be a lot of different guys in there. So usually practice 6, somewhere around in there, you have your first scrimmage and you go watch it and you evaluate it, and things continue from there on to get filtered out.
Looking specifically at Ryan, what jumps and strides do you want to see him make this year? And for you as a coaching staff, have you changed at all your expectations, things you like him doing, don't like him doing, having seen him play a full year?
The biggest thing with Ryan throughout the year and spring ball and this summer and going through fall camp will be his consistency on executing the plays. And it's one of the hardest things to do, probably as a player, but certainly as a quarterback. And there's situations you're put in, the different plays, the different decisions, but being able to put a play behind you and to go execute, do what you've been coached to do, what we're asking him to do, make the right decision, understand that every play is not going to be a big play, and you may have to throw the ball away, you may have to take a sack, whatever it is. But that's the thing for him that he has consistently gotten better at, that he still needs to keep coming on. And in my opinion, that's the key for him. And he can make the plays. He's got the talent. He's got the intelligence. It's the consistency of go do exactly what you're supposed to do, play in and play out, and put a full game together, and let's go put a full season together. And that's where it is with him. As far as the second question goes, yeah, probably not. There wasn't a whole lot different that we found out once we got going, with the offense. Maybe little things here and there, but it's pretty wide open what we feel like he can execute as a quarterback. He can run, he can move, he can throw on the run, he can drop back, he can play action. There's just he's got a chance to be pretty good at a lot of different things.
Coach, we always talk about the quarterback, but over the last couple of years, you've had in and out running backs. I mean, what's your take right now on your running back situation, and maybe the addition of a speedster like our local boy Cole Beck? I mean, how will that play in?
Well, we've got a couple of guys that have been with us now the longest and have got to be kind of the group, the foundation of that group. They've got the game experience, probably the most solid of those guys. And then we've got some young, inexperienced talent, and we're excited about that. And there's going to be a lot of those guys that are I mean, every single meeting and every single walkthrough and every single practice, every single drill, I mean, they're competing and being evaluated for reps in practice and eventually playing time. But it's an exciting group. It's a talented group. Still a lot of inexperience there. Still a lot of improvement we got to make at that position. But there's a couple guys that I think know how to lead that group, and I think there's a lot of young guys that are hungry to follow and continue to get better.
Thank you, Coach. All right, we'll now start with our student athletes, beginning with Dalton Keene.
First of all, I just made the remark, and he sort of laughed. Didn't recognize you there without your hair. What was the reason behind that, and then what's your feelings now going in after having such a great season last year?
Yeah, I've actually gotten that question a few times this offseason. I mean, a couple weeks ago with the ACC media deal. I mean, there wasn't really a good story behind it. I just kind of got tired of the long hair. I didn't realize it was like such a hot commodity with so many people, but I guess everyone loved it. But yeah, needed a new, cleaner look.
Dalton, from this time last year to now, how has the mood and character in the locker room changed?
Man, it's been awesome. Like, going into camp, day one's tomorrow, I've never felt so good about our team, about myself, the tight end room, just, in every aspect of it, it feels great right now. I feel like this offseason we really, we're able to form some chemistry, and we're just so far ahead of where we have been in the past.
How do you assess kind of Ryan's leadership and kind of chemistry with all you guys, which kind of came on all of a sudden last year?
Yeah, he's been doing a great job. I mean, he was thrown right into that role, and you could tell he was ready. And I was super proud of how he handled all that. I mean, he's had some game experience in the past, but just being able to step into that role immediately was awesome. And then this offseason has been awesome for him. Just getting our timing down, running routes, building chemistry. It's been really good for us, and again, I think he's super far ahead of where he's been in the past. Just rolling into the season, rolling into day one of camp.
Question for Dalton? Going once, going twice. All right.
Gang, just note, we've also got some student athletes over on the second stage over there.
All right, now Reggie Floyd, senior safety. Questions? Gene?
Yeah, Reggie, what was kind of the reaction among the team when you heard from Bud that he was retiring after this year, particularly among the defensive players?
Of course, it was sad, but at the same time, we were just motivate us more for the season, just show our appreciation about how we dominate on the field.
Was there anything as follow up? Did Bud tell you specifically, how he envisions the season going, and kind of emotionally for the defense? Is this kind of even more makes you more excited to get into the season to send Bud out on the right note?
He just kept it simple. Just let us know nothing changes. He just wanted to let us know ahead of time, and from him himself. But other than that, he just made sure that we were prepared for the season, just get ready for what's ahead of us.
Reggie, last year was a little bit rough for you guys on the defensive side of the ball. How big is the chip on the shoulder going into this year?
Very big. We used everything last year, every game, every practice, every film session for motivation and a learning experience. So we're looking forward to this 2019 season.
Reggie, what has Coach Foster meant to you in your years here, and what have you learned from him?
I've learned many things from him, not just in football, but from just growing as a man, having him as a coach and somebody to talk to no matter what's going on with him, what's going on with me, just making sure everybody's good. He's a great guy, especially when it comes to football. Everybody knows that, but in Blacksburg and, anywhere, everybody knows of him and knows he's a great man, and he did a lot of things special here, and it's never going to be forgotten.
Hey, Reggie, what's up, man? Talk to us a little bit about accountability in the locker room and how you guys are holding yourself responsible for some of the things that might have happened last year into this year.
Everybody holds themselves accountable for everything that happened last year.
we mainly don't like to put that on anybody except for ourselves. We wouldn't want on the field. We want making the mistakes, making the good plays. So we just got to come together as a whole team, as mold, as a strong bond, as we've been doing this whole time, and just stick together no matter what.
Hey, Reggie, I understand the idea of wanting to keep everything the same and not be focused on Bud, but especially as the season goes along, isn't it going to be kind of difficult to ignore that?
Not at all. Coach Foster let us know right now that he didn't want anything of what happened today to affect anything that's going on in the season. And we understood what he meant, and we're just going to handle business, like I said, and show our appreciation through how we play.
Any other questions for Reggie? Once, twice. All right, Reggie. Good to go. Mike's on. Question for Hendon?
Hey, how you doing today?
Doing good. How you doing?
Got to give you some questions. Always got to make it tough on you. How's this quarterback battle played out, and what's your feelings on what's happening, and where we can see it's going to go here this season?
Well, everyone in the quarterback room is working really hard, to be the number one guy. And through fall camp, we're going to push each other, and as we did throughout the summer. So we're all just trying to improve on our game, and may the best man win.
How is Ryan different now than he was last year before he played? Does he show a lot more leadership now, or what's different about him now?
Nothing, maybe like a little bit more friendlier, or but no, he's always been a pretty great leader, and just helping younger guys come along and newcomers.
Other questions for Hendon? Once. Going twice. All right. Next up. Patterson. Any questions for Quincy?
Quincy, I ask you a follow-up on what we just asked with Hendon, but how's this quarterback battle been going, and what's your feelings about it and where you stand?
Well, I think that, it's been a healthy competition. Everybody has the potential to be something great, if not be the starter. And I feel like everybody's just learning and, trying to be in that position to be the starter, because say if Ryan was to start again, then say if he gets hurt, somebody else had to step in too. So we kind of all have to prepare like the starter. And at the end of fall camp, we'll know who the starter is, and it'll be that.
Questions for Quincy? Going once? Going twice? Quincy.
Thank you.
What's up, guys?
Ryan, what would you say your comfort level is going into this year after starting a majority of last season?
I mean, I feel great. Got another spring in the books. Worked hard this summer, and the team's gearing up, and we're getting ready to go.
Hey, Ryan, I know Coach Cornelson always talks about taking that next step. He mentioned that a few times last season. What is that next step for you personally you feel like you need to take this season?
You know, the next step for me is just getting a greater understanding where if a lineman needs help on something, I can be there for him, or running back, or just certain techniques outside the quarterback position, just kind of expanding my role.
Brian, in the back, it's more than just, a quarterback needs a good running game, receivers, offensive line to play. How do you feel the entire offense is improving with everyone getting a little more experience and being together in an off season that was probably a little more harmonious than in the past?
Yeah, I agree. I really hope this offense can be very well balanced. Some of the best offenses out there can run the ball really efficiently and throw it the same way. Got a lot of playmakers on offense. Got a really deep receiver room. Our offensive line is one of the best in the ACC, in my opinion. We got 2 tight ends that are really capable of doing some great things this year. And I'm just excited to see this offense. It's got a really good chance of being explosive this year.
Ryan, I meant to ask you this the other day, but I believe you worked out with Patrick Mahomes in the off season. How did that come about, and what did you learn from that experience?
I've played against Pat a few times when I was at Kansas, but we got the same quarterback coach, and so we were in Kansas City and we linked up, worked out, played some golf. It's cool to work around guys of that caliber, just how they handle themselves, how they go about things, working out. He's a down-to-earth guy. He's just one of the guys, and he just does great things on the field. It's kind of cool to see.
Any other questions for Ryan? Back?
Where are we looking?
How have you seen the running backs progress? Where there's kind of, there's not going to be just one guy. It's going to be a little bit by committee, but how do you see them on a daily basis progress?
They're working hard in the weight room with Coach Hilgart. They're getting after it in the film room. They're just trying to improve in any way they can, and we really need them to step up this year, and I think they will. They're ready for the challenge. I think they're going to do a great job.
Hey Ryan, just talk a little bit about personal growth and some of your own personal expectations of yourself for this season.
I just want to get better. I'm taking every day, one day at a time. Every rep in the weight room, one rep at a time. Watched more film this summer than I ever have in the past. I'm just trying to improve. It's about getting better. I want to be the best player I can be so I can help out this team and so we can win some games and hopefully win some championships along the way.
Anything else for Ryan? Aaron?
Ryan,
Snuggling in.
Ryan, what does that look like? More film than you've ever watched? I mean, is that like every night or 5 times a week, or what does that look like?
Well, I didn't have any class this summer, so I wanted to develop my own little time schedule. Just as a person, I'm more productive when I do the same thing every day. So I'll go to breakfast, watch film, work out, then watch extra film if I can after workouts. But just slotting out time every day to make sure I stay on top of it. They're coming out of nowhere.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
I was asking Justin and Brad this, but I want to ask you. The end of game situations last year against Carolina, UVA, and Cincinnati. Games on the line, that's often when a quarterback is judged. How would you evaluate how you performed in those situations, and did you learn anything about the game or yourself in going through those?
It's a good question.
Thank you.
End of game situations, it just comes down to executing. You can't let the moment be too big at the time. It's kind of like our mantra, one play at a time. Gotta move the chains, gotta be aware of all settings, the time, the down distance, where you're out in the field. I mean, it's helped me grow as a player. I've had some success. Wish we could have done better in the bowl game, but I don't know. I've seen myself grow. It's just game reps. There's nothing that can replace it. We can do 2-minute drill all we want in practice, but when there's 50,000 fans watching you and you feel the heat of the moment, there's nothing that can replace that kind of stuff. So I've definitely grown from that and just kind of reflecting on it, going back and watching the games. It's off season and just seeing what I could have done better and what I did do well, and it's good to reflect on it and hopefully I can grow from it.
Are there specific plays from those 3 drives that you remember? The 4th down conversion at Chapel Hill, the throw to Dalton against UVA, maybe even the pick against Cincinnati?
Yeah. That North Carolina drive was awesome. 18-play drive and win the game. It's about as good as it gets. But, you gotta take it with a grain of salt. There's good plays and there's bad plays, but you gotta treat them all the same. We'll see. Looking forward to this upcoming season. Hopefully we can get more situations like that where the ball's in my hands and we can win a game. That'd be great. But, I'm just trying to get better every day.
Do you like this idea that you have not been anointed as the starting quarterback, at least as far as we know yet?
I get asked that all the time. I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about improving every day, being the best player I can be, so this football team can be the best it can be. I obviously want to play. It's a competitive nature. All of us want to play. But the weird thing about a quarterback is there's only one of us on the field at a time. So, each of us are going in to camp with the mindset that we're going to get better. We're going to support each other, and whoever ends up playing, we're going to support him till someone else's number's called, and that next person up has to be ready. A lot of times in college football, as many hits as we take, there's going to be 2-3 quarterbacks that play every year, so all of us have to be ready to go.
Anything else for Ryan? Once? Twice? All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, get out. See?
Andy has a question.
All right, it's cool.
Rayshard, kind of shocking news with Bud today. What was that like to be in that room and hear him talk about this being his last season?
It was very emotional, and it just got very quiet after he announced. So it was just like, I think a lot of emotions going on, kind of shocking. Wasn't really expecting it, and then after he said it, we were just kind of like quiet, and everybody was just taking it in.
You didn't have a sense that was coming or anything?
When they first brought him up, I thought he was just going to give us like a motivational speech. Kind of when he first started talking, I kind of in my head felt it. So that's when I got the sense when he first started talking. But it was shocking because, like I said, when they first brought him up, I thought he was just going to give us a motivational speech for the season, starter camp and things like that.
Here in the back, I know Bud talked a lot about last year, this defense bending but not breaking necessarily. That's taking a next step, and what is that next step this season to make sure you perhaps don't bend as much as you did last year?
Just continuing to work every day in practice, continuing to get better, becoming better as a defense together, becoming more together, communication, tackling, everything like that. But just continuing to sharpen everybody's tools and play together as a defense and play together as one.
Bud is your position coach. Does it get to your group a little bit more because you theoretically should spend more time with him? And I know you guys haven't had a chance to talk about it, but he missed a little bit of last year. Could you guys kind of understand where he's coming from? And at the same time, you still got work to do this year, right?
Yeah, it definitely gets to us a little bit more. Just he's our position coach, like you said. We spend most of our time with him, but yeah, I definitely understand. That's his decision. What's best for him at the end of the day. Just like he wants what's best for us, we want what's best for him. I know this choice was hard for him, and I appreciate everything he did, everything. But this season is just more motivation for him, for just wanting to win in general and right the wrong. So it's definitely going to be a great season.
Quarterbacks study quarterbacks. As a linebacker, who did you study in the offseason, and what was the specific thing that you wanted to work on in the offseason in your particular game?
I more so just watch film on us and just seeing the different things that we could have did better last year or I could have done better in general. But basically just model after everybody. Any tips I can get from anywhere, I just used it and things like that. So whatever tips I can get, I just put a lot of tips together to put it fits what best fits me and to help myself out. And basically what I wanted to work on the most was everything, to be honest. Just getting faster, not thinking a lot,
and knowing more of the offensive situations because I know my position better now and things like that, and getting everybody else to know more and helping everybody else out.
Last year was kind of like a broken record, especially from us talking about how young the defense was. And for you guys with another year under your collective belt, are you guys kind of done? Are you ready to put that narrative to bed?
Definitely. I feel like, I feel like last year, I feel like it never should have been a narrative to me. It's a lot of young teams, and we're here for a reason, so we had to get accustomed, but we're definitely ready to put that narrative to bed. It's a new year, year of experience gained for everybody, so we're just ready to get to work and keep playing, play it better, more experience, and just get better every day.
Hey, what has Coach Foster meant to you? What have you learned from him? And how big a deal was it when he came to recruit you?
It's a lot. I can't say all of it. Just he means so much to me. Just from recruiting, first came to see me. Was the first person to offer me, give me my chance. He always believed in me. He just means so much, man. I can't even explain it all. I just appreciate everything he's done. Just teaching me on the football field, but most importantly off the field, just a great role model he is, a great man he is. Just being with him so much, he's just a great person. Taught me how to be a great man each and every day, and that's what I appreciate about him the most, and how much he cares for all of the players, and all of the players care for him just as much as he cares for us.
Anything else for HR, guys? Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Oh, who? I don't know. All right, my bad. You go. You pick. My bad.
Dax, could you kind of describe what the emotions were like when Bud was kind of talking to you guys about his plans to retire after the season?
So my dad's a football coach, and he's a high school football coach, and like, basically, it's the same reaction if my dad would have told me he was retiring. Like, Coach Foster's like a father to me. Like, he's the reason I'm here. He's the reason I made the best decision of my life. I really owe everything to him up to this point since like about 3 or 4 years ago. I appreciate everything he's done for me. Like in this past year that I've been on campus, like he's taught me so much. It's not about football. He's being a man. It's how to be a good person, how to be a great leader, and all that stuff. I mean, it's hard on me, most definitely, because I mean, me and him have a really good relationship. But I'm happy for him at the same time. He's it's year 33 for him at Tech, so like it's a long time, and he's put so much in this program that nobody else has ever done in the country. Like he's the best to ever do it, and he's just done so much for this program that I'm eternally grateful for him. And like he's just I don't know, that's just all I got to say. Like he's the best to ever do it, and I appreciate it. Everything he's done for me in this program, and just all the people who's ever been around.
With football being a week-to-week deal, have you kind of even given any thought on how you kind of manage the week-to-week with this, Bud's retirement looming throughout the entire season?
I mean, this season had like a lot of I have a lot of motivation coming in this season already, and just finding that out, like, it really just gives me a little extra motivation, I guess. Like, I'm not shocked, but it really puts like I don't know how to explain it. Like this is it. It's like one last ride. Like he's got this all or nothing. Like, so I'm working my tail off every day. I'm gonna go 110%. I'm gonna give the extra 10. Like I was going 100% already, but now like since like an hour ago, I'm definitely gonna give everything I got this year, no matter what. Because I mean, he deserves it. He deserves everything I give him and everybody else gives him. So.
Dax, one of the things that was talked about during your recruitment is the conversations you and Bud had.
Did he tell you at that point in time that he'd be here all 4 years while he was recruiting you?
He mentioned it. I knew he was getting old. Like he was getting older, and he's been doing it a long time. He said he wanted to do it for as long as I've been doing it, but it's sometimes at one point you got to make a decision what's best for you and what's best for this program, and I feel like he knows. I feel like he has a good grasp on what he thinks is best for everything. So I mean, I really just think he's doing what's best for him and what's best for me. I mean, for everybody. So I mean, I have nothing wrong with that. So that's all.
So, totally changing gears, you've been mixing it up with UVA fans recently on Twitter.
Yeah. I don't know what I did there. I really didn't say anything bad. I wouldn't even at them, but it's all right.
Does the administration ever pull you aside and say, "Hey"?
Yeah, Coach Fu did. He was like, I was in the weight. He was lifting in the weight room with Hilgart. He was like, I walked past and smiled at him. He smiled at me, and I walked past again. He was like, "You can't ever put that phone down, Ken." I was like, I literally didn't even say anything wrong. They came in my head for no reason, not me. I didn't do anything, so I didn't say anything negative. So no, but yeah.
Dax, just talk to me a little bit about the chemistry in the locker room and also coaching some of these young players up, because the coaches can only do so much until it falls on you guys to also make a difference in the locker room, correct?
Yeah, definitely. The chemistry in the locker room, we've really been focusing on it. It's all about like positivity, just making everything positive, no negativity. Just like look at the picture, everything is the glass half full instead of half empty. Just like that stuff. It's all the little things. They build up and make a big thing. Like Coach Fuente was always talking about, give that little extra 1%, and that 1%, like it adds up to a lot over time. And so like just building that into our daily mindset, that's really been a big thing for us. And like our the chemistry, I feel like everybody's bought into that, and if they haven't, they will. So like it's brewing. I can just feel it coming. It's time to show it. But like you said, it's only so much coaches can do. And like Coach Fuente came in today and talked to some of the leaders, and he gave us a book to read, and we all read it, and it was a really good message. And we're probably going to try to implement that into what we talk about during fall camp. And it's a lot of it is on us, the leaders, like a lot like Reggie Floyd, Ty, and everybody, and Jay Hugh. It's a lot on us to like make those younger guys really just go all the way, buy all in. So yeah.
First of all, what was the book he gave you? First of all, what was the book he gave you? Was there?
It's called The Coffee Bean. It's basically, if you put a carrot in water, it gets soft. If you put an egg in water, boiling water, it gets hard. Or if you put a coffee bean in water, it turns the water into coffee. So like basically the environment is going to be tough and hot. It just depends on how you react to it. You can either harden up, or you can soften up, or you can take that environment and make it positive and turn everybody else into the positivity that you want to give out. So basically that's what it meant.
I remember before you got here for your freshman year, the few times that we got to see spring practice or practice during the season, it seemed like you were here all the time, like you lived out there or something. Like some of us asked, like, does this dude ever go to class?
Yeah, they give us shirts for I made 15 during the spring. I think I was like a couple practices away from making that. So yeah, that was a joke for me. But.
With that and the fact that you were here so much, and every time we did see you, it seemed like you were right next to Bud and like listening to him and talking back and forth. Do you feel like you got to know him and maybe develop a little bit more of a different relationship than a lot of recruits do with him?
Most definitely. I mean, I'm telling you, that's my dude. I remember him and Shane Beamer walking into my high school my freshman year. I think it was sometime in like February, and just seeing him I didn't know who he was. I didn't really understand college football then. I only like Wake Forest and Clemson. That was really two teams I really liked. My dad played Wake Forest, but I know who he was, but then my dad was like, this Bud Foster. And ever since then, he's always just been there. And he's always been texting me. And it's just the relationship he's built with me since then over the past 4 or 5 years is just unlike anybody else. It's like, I love the man to death. Like, I'd do anything for him. I'd run through any wall. I would jump off a bridge if he told me to. If he told me to jump, I'd say how. I promise you. Like, it's just, I'd do anything for the man. It's just, I don't know. That's all I got to say about it, but yeah.
One last question. Question in the back.
Dax, you kind of touched on it earlier with some of the Twitter stuff, but with your personality and your presence, you've kind of become one of the icons of this entire team. Is that kind of a public image that you embrace?
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't expect it, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not really been during high school. I was really never that like outgoing and like charismatic. I guess I didn't really talk that much or nothing like that. But I guess it just came out of me when I got here, but I enjoy it a lot. Like I love the image. It's a lot of fun, especially on game days. Just hyping everybody up. That's my thing. But I don't know. I just enjoy it a lot. It comes with a lot of responsibility. I gotta watch what I say a lot, and so I try to. On Twitter, people try to take jabs at me. It's hard to close my mouth, but yeah. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy what comes with it.
Thank you, Dax.
Well, appreciate it.
All right, Jared, you. Questions for Jared? Going once. In the back? Yep, no, you first.
Jared, the question du jour is, what was your reaction in the team meeting today, and what was it like to hear Coach Foster make his announcement?
I mean, it was a bit of a shock, but, you know, that he had such a passion for coaching here, and, like, you know, that he can't put into words how much he means to all of us, and I know how much, like, he puts into this program. He pretty much built this place side by side with Coach Beamer, but it was a shock, but it's definitely not the end. We still have the season to go, and I think it's going to fuel us, like, even more, and I think it's going to give us some pride and some work that we already have. Like, whatever happened last season, we're ready to just kind of get back and make a name for ourselves this year, but that just adds to the fire, man. It's just we're ready to go, and I can't wait to just come out here every day and just dedicate this season to him.
In the back, can you describe the difference in the attitude and chemistry in the entire locker room following everything you guys went through after last season?
Yeah, it seemed like last year a lot of times guys were like, we have to go do this, we have to go practice, we have to go lift weights. I think this past 6 months, this past semester and summer, we've been more attacking it like we get to do these things. We get to come together as a family. We get to do all this stuff together and really go attack a common goal. And I think that just the overall mindset's in a much better position. I think the guys that, no ill will towards anyone, but they wanted to other places that they thought we were going to better themselves, and we're happy that happened for them. But we're here now, and like we're ready to get things rolling, and we're ready to just kind of prove what we've been doing these past few months.
Jared, do you think the single digit makes you look skinnier?
I think my man Dax actually said earlier the 5 looks a little more slim than the 55, but no, it's just childhood number, man, and I had the opportunity to wear it, so I didn't wait to take that opportunity.
Anything else for Jared? Going once, going twice. All right.
All right, appreciate it.
Manuel Belmar.
Jared just said that the philosophy last year, the word last year was we have to, and now it's we get to. Can you describe a couple of those things specifically that you're seeing 365 days ago was maybe a burden, and now you guys look at it as opportunistic and as an advantage?
I mean, I just feel like, a lot of distractions last year, a lot of things going on outside the program. So I feel like this year everybody, more together. So I feel like it's more of a bond. Like we get to come to see each other. We get to go work together and try to build something, you know what I'm saying? So really just trying to get everybody on the same page, everybody together. It was a lot of individuals last year and stuff like that. But I feel like now of all of us, we kind of together and we just want to all build and see what we can do together.
Questions for Manuel? Going once, going twice. Okay, thank you, Manuel.
Hey, man, how much did that redshirt year mean for you? Was it frustrating, tough to learn that that's what you're going to have to do at first, or did you take it as, man, this is my opportunity to maybe get back to something that you were really familiar with, get better at that, and I mean, playing safety?
I really took it as a positive. Like I knew, like being a red shirt, I knew it was kind of hard seeing my teammates every Saturday going out there busting their tails and trying to get a win. But I also knew that it was going to help me in my play and help me grow more and become more mature as a player and actually know more about the defense also and just becoming more comfortable. So once that happened, everything else just played on its own.
Questions for Devin? In the back?
After last year, the first losing record since before any of y'all were born, how personally does everybody take that and turn it into motivation to turn it around and make sure it's not repeated?
Oh yeah, we definitely take it personal. Like that doesn't happen here at Virginia Tech. Like we have a standard of greatness, and we have a lot of guys that put their blood, sweat, and tears on the line for us to get to where we are right now. So that season last year was unacceptable. We know that, and we know going into the season we have to work 10 times, 20 times harder than we ever did. And we know that this whole Virginia Tech staff and everyone else around us, they're hoping, they're wishing for us, and we're gonna do the best that we can to help bring back where we were. So I feel like we're gonna do our thing.
As you observed last year, what were a couple of things, if you step back and remove yourself from actually on the field, what were a couple of things that opened your eyes, that you saw that maybe you understood a lot better than you did a year ago?
Basically, like, my first year, I had to get used to the speed more, and I was moving a little faster. And I had guys like Terrell Edmonds, Mook Reynolds, just basically showing me the way. Then last year, it was kind of new, like playing whip position. I really never played nickel before, and it was a new position for me. And there was a lot of different changes. But also, after seeing that, looking up the guys like Reggie, how they work, and how they just at the moment, they're just working hard and making plays. I knew that's something I had to do and something I had to see in my own. So once I seen it, and once I told myself that this is something I really wanted to do and really needed to be great at, I worked at it every day. So now coming in this season, I'm ready to show everyone what I could do.
You touched on it a little bit, but did you feel like for a guy that was so highly recruited and you've bounced around a little bit, like you said, you played nickel, that whip nickel position, back to safety now, you got a pretty good base of knowledge for the whole, back seven really. Do you feel like that was a little bit of pushing the reset button for you? Like, because you got a long ways to go still in your career here, and it's not like you're some old dude who just, redshirted before his senior year. You got 3 solid years left here. I mean, does it feel like you're resetting a little bit?
I wouldn't say a reset, but it would definitely let me know what I have to do, giving me more time. So basically, it's like having 3 more years to show people what I can do on the field, and that's all I need. I just needed time, and now I feel like I can do whatever I can do to help the team win. And I feel like they put me out there. I'm gonna show the world exactly who Devin Hunter is. So.
Got one more for Devin. Anyone wants to ask it? Going once? Going twice? Last one.
You work behind Reggie a lot, I guess, during the spring. Is that right? What did that do for your development? Just kind of watching him and as experienced as he is at the spot you might be playing.
Oh, it was amazing. Reggie, definitely a big brother type guy. Every time I see him step on the field, I see how many guys is looking up to him, and I look up to him also. That guy, he's a hard worker. All the plays he made at Virginia Tech, and I know he's gonna do his best to be the best player he could be. This is his last season, so I know watching him, I know definitely I got somebody, a role model that I can look up to, and knowing when he leave, I can be the one that he can hand the torch to, and I definitely can take over for him. So I love Reggie to the death. He's a big time player, and I definitely will continue to watch him and continue to learn from him on the field and off the field.
Thank you, Devin.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Damon Hazelton.
It's an easy day. Oh, you got something.
How have you seen Ryan progress just from the end of last year, all through off-season workouts, and any change in his demeanor or attitude or leadership or anything like that that lets you know he's going to come into this year even better than he finished up last year?
To answer that, I think Brian is always, a guy I can count on to be to give 100% of everything he has. But as far as a change, I would say, he has a better attitude in the building, smiling a lot more. I think just overall everybody is more together, so that's good. And living with him, I see a lot more film study, even in the off season and things like that. So I'm excited.
Damon, does your role change much as the most accomplished receiver on the team? With young guys behind you trying to bring them up, or less experienced guys?
I think my role changes in the aspects of becoming a better leader for the young guys, for my teammates. I think that's the only, aspect of me that changes as far as my role. Just being a better leader, and I'm still learning on how to be the best leader possible, but it's something that I wrote down personally for myself to work on to set a great example for those guys.
Questions for Damon? Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? Right. Turner. Anyone? Questions for Trey?
No.
Back.
With everybody back after everything you went through last year, your expectations for what you expect this offense to be better at and improve on this year?
With this offense that we have, we're good at responding. So with everybody doubting us from what happened last year, we're all ready, and we're ready to make noise.
How different has the offseason been for everybody after the way last season ended? And, you guys probably haven't experienced a ton of doubt since you've been here, but, last year wasn't what you wanted. And how different has the offseason been looking ahead to this year?
This offseason compared to last offseason is completely different. Like last year, you can tell a lot of us were complacent, and then a lot of guys didn't really care. But now you can see everybody's bought in, and we're all ready to win. We all want one goal, and that's to win. How much has Ryan been part of making it? Ryan's a great leader. All our quarterbacks are great leaders. Like we're all vocal. Everybody likes talking. So it's not like just Ryan is telling us, or just Hendon, just Braxton, just Quincy. Like all the quarterbacks are great leaders.
Trey, it's fair to say that you kind of broke out on the scene in a big way last year. How important would you say the success of the receiving core is to the overall success of the team this season?
I would say that the overall receiving core, like we look at ourselves and we want to be the best unit on the team, and that's just bottom line. Like we want to be the best, and so we're gonna come out here and work every day like we are the best.
Anything else for Trey? Once, twice. All right, Trey. Here we go. I'll start us off.
No, I think we good.
Any local paper guys want to ask? Questions
Go
for
on.
Wes? Wes, thank you so much.
It's interesting because basically everyone's going to the podium said last year was either complacent or they weren't doing the little things. The way last season went and into the offseason, how much of a reality check, looking at the growth of the game, what it takes to be great, how big of a reality check was last year?
It was a big time reality check. I feel like we kind of went into the game like when it first started, ODU game. I think we went into that game like feeling ourselves, not really focused on the game, and then it carried on throughout the rest of the season. But I feel like I feel like we needed that as a team, like because I see how everybody came together as a family, and now we're on a different mission. So this season is gonna be special.
That ODU game you mentioned, I know it's not like you get home an awful lot during the off season or anything, but as a 757 guy, how difficult did that make the off season for you? Did you have guys texting you or calling you and saying what the hell happened, or making you relive that at all? And
After that game, yeah, of course I had all my friends texting me talking about what happened, but obviously I didn't have an answer for them. So, but I'm not gonna talk too much. But we don't plan on that happening again.
Anything else for Trey? For Hezekiah? Sorry. Going once, going twice. All right, good.
Good.
I got you. Questions for Divine?
No questions. We good.
Anything for Divine, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, great.
What kind of challenge do you think it will be to kind of manage the whole Bud story part of this season? And, there's a lot of talk about playing with a chip on your shoulder and being more motivated by, wanting to do well for him. But what kind of challenge do you think all that emotional stuff will be for you guys?
I think that's the thing about life. There's a lot of things that happen, and we get to choose how we react to it. And I think this team is going to react in a positive way to this. And for sure, it'll motivate us to send them out the right way.
Questions for Divine? Yes.
Based off what you said there's a lot of things in life and you choose how to react to it. When that season wrapped up, as someone who's a respected guy in the locker room, how did you choose to handle it? What was your message? I mean, coaches can have a message. What was your message to your colleagues?
My main message was either you're 100% in or 100% out. We had too many guys that was iffy about that. And we had way too many guys going into big games only half believing that we could win. Like Notre Dame, I didn't like that. So this year the goal is to be all in.
Anything else for Divine?
Thank you.
Good. I'm good.
Caleb, how are you feeling about your hair this year? It looks like it's got a little extra volume to it.
Yeah, it got a little extra volume. I think I'm gonna try and braid it up. Get 2 braids.
Any other questions for Caleb?
Boom.
No? Going once? Going twice?
Caleb, tell us about Bud Foster. What has Bud meant to you? You've been through a lot here the last couple years. How important has he been for you personally?
I love Coach Foster, man. Just coming in and being myself, wanting to play offense. If it wasn't for Coach Foster, you know what I'm saying, the whole transition to defense, it went a lot smoother because of Coach Foster. He a great man, and he ain't never showed me nothing but love.
Caleb, it's interesting. Devine just came up and said that last year there were some guys who maybe weren't buying in all the way. Some games, he mentioned Notre Dame. Some guys didn't believe that you guys could even win the game. Is that something that you noticed too? And do you think that that's something that's kind of been eradicated from your locker room?
I think I definitely have noticed a different mindset in the locker room, and just with everyone, I think people are more sure of themselves. I think the goal is more known throughout the locker room, and I just think that everybody is more together and on the same mission. Yeah.
Anything else for Caleb?
One of the themes last year was how young the defensive unit was on this team. Is that something that you guys kind of got sick of hearing after a while? I mean, is that something that you guys are now looking to move on and kind of change that narrative?
I can say it got a little old. I'm saying that was really just people putting an excuse out on the table for us. So I don't want to say we got tired of hearing it. We just knew we needed to go ahead and mature as players, mentally and physically, and come into our own, I guess I would say.
Anything else for Caleb? All right. Thank you, Caleb.
Can you describe the motivation just in the running backs meeting about how much you guys really want to help define the resurgence of this year's offense based on those times when you were successful last year?
All in all, though, we're not satisfied with the past couple of seasons. Honestly, we haven't really had a dominant running game, period. So like we all feel like we have a chip on our shoulders to get better, to push each other. The freshman guys are coming in, so me and Jalen are kind of trying to help those guys and trying to show them how to practice and just to try to instill that dog mentality into the freshmen, which they already have, but they just need an extra push.
You guys can't do it alone. Tell me about the growth that you've seen in the offensive line and those guys getting better and being a little more cohesive to help open stuff up for you.
Right. This offseason, the offensive linemen, like as a group, they've made tremendous strides. Their whole mentality has just, it was like a big shift in their mentality. Those guys are a lot meaner now. They understand the offense a lot better, and they're a lot more cohesive, as a unit. And to be honest, during summer workouts is that it's very evident that they've been working really hard, whether it's been on the field, watching film, in the weight room. Those guys are going to be ready.
Cleese, tell us about your two tight ends in Dalton Keene and James Mitchell. What is it about those guys that you think can make the offense a little more dynamic this season?
Well, yeah. Well, you know, Dalton Keene. I love those guys, Dalton Keene and James Mitchell. Dalton Keene, you have a train. He's going to run through you. He's going to dominate you in every aspect of the game. He's going to catch over you. He'll run you over. He's going to block you. He's going to drive you into the ground. Then you have a guy like James Mitchell, who's a little bit different. He's more finesse, but he's gonna catch the ball. He's gonna block. He's gonna do everything that we ask him to do. So I feel like we have two dynamic tight ends, honestly, and we have the best of both worlds.
Anything else for Sean? Okay. Thank you, Sean.
Summer, we've heard your teammates talk about your work ethic, and you're a guy that we should watch out for this year. Where does that work ethic, where does that drive come from?
You know, where I'm from, you know, that's kind of what we base ourselves off of. You know, we know we're kind of behind on some other things, so everywhere I've played down there, they try to teach us, you know, hard work. It'll take you a long way.
How comfortable do you feel with the quarterback, specifically working with Ryan out there?
I feel really comfortable working with them. I think each one has something unique that they can bring to the table. And, you know, through this summer, we've been working on getting our timing down. So I'm really excited to get back working with them here in a few days.
What did you learn you had to take the next step? What were some of the smaller things that you focused in on to take that next step in your game?
Probably just mostly the mental aspect. You know, I knew I had to sit down and actually, you know, study the playbook more than I did in high school. And the fundamentals are something that are emphasized a lot more at this level and that I really try to get better at.
Between you and Dalton, you guys probably have one of the better tight end groups in all the ACC. Do you feel like this is a key strength of this offense? And how important do you feel like your position group is to the success of this offense?
As far as our success, I think it's really important because the tight end position has to be very versatile, and I think we're getting to where we want to be able to do a lot of different things in our offense, and it's a very important part.
Anything else for James? Okay. Thank you, James.
So Coach Fuente talked over and over again about how it's kind of an odd situation with you being able to have your first off season, being healthy and all that. Now that you've kind of been through the whole thing, how much has an off season helped you compared to other years, and what were you able to do that you weren't able to do in previous years? I got to think a lot of stuff, obviously.
I just want to say being out there with my teammates is the one thing that helped a lot. They really pushed me to get back to where I was. I want to say last year I missed a lot of the spring workouts, summer workouts due to the injury I had, and it just hampered me from doing a lot of stuff that I wanted to do. And I want to say this year just helped me a lot to get my mental state right and my physical state right, being bigger, faster, and stronger.
What role did Steven play for your position group, and how does his departure kind of change things this year?
I want to say Peace, he was a leader. He was a senior. He was really someone that showed me the way on what it's like to be a college football player at Virginia Tech. I want to say just that hard work mentality, he installed it in me a lot. And with his departure, I want to say it's on me as being an older guy and McLeese just to show the younger guys what he showed us.
Jalen, having some success down the stretch last year, breaking off a big one against Marshall, how much confidence did that give you, and how much of a boost did it give you coming into this offseason?
I want to say it gave me a real big boost, but in my head, I just wanted to really focus on my off season, so it won't take that longer down the stretch, longer down those games, just to get me started. It's just gonna start from game one, from the jump.
At times last year, the run game was a little slower for you guys to develop in some games. Do you feel like that's an area where you guys are ready to kind of take that next step this year?
Oh, yeah, I want to say this year is going to be a big leap. I feel like Coach Weiss has done a great job with those guys, especially Brock coming in, getting each and one of those guys better. And you can really just see the results from us being at skills and drills to you see them going in film almost every day, watching more film than me. So I want to say I'm really excited about that.
I remember you were pretty open about talking about how last year was the year that you hoped would be a year that you became a much bigger part of the backfield, and because you had to battle through some things, and it wasn't quite until the end. Obviously, it wasn't quite what you expected. How much did that fuel you in an off season where you did finally get to participate? That now this has got to be the year where you've got to establish and sort of take that next step forward.
It made me hungry, I want to say. It just, that feeling of not being on the field, it really killed me a lot, not being able to do a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do. And now getting that off season, and obviously camp's here now, so it's time.
Anything else for Jalen?
All right, y'all have a good day.
What's up? How you doing?
Questions for Oscar?
Yep.
So do you feel like you got the best Twitter jab of the off season in with the one on Perkins? That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good little jab, but yeah, just slip of the tongue. But it's time to get ready for the season now. So yeah, can't really continue on that sort of path anyway. Yeah.
Oscar, are there any other punters in the ACC that are more jacked up? Looks like you've really taken the weight room to heart this offseason.
Yeah, a little bit. My boy down in Miami is pretty big. I don't know if you guys actually blown up quite a bit on social media. He's got jacked and he's got neck tattoos and all the rest of it. He's a big boy. But yeah, I'm sure there's a few others out there as well. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about a neck tattoo?
My dad wouldn't be too happy with that, so no, I can't do that. Plus, I need to get a job after this as well, so it's probably not the best idea. Move on from the neck tattoos.
Oscar, how do you feel like the special teams unit is coming along, and what are some of your personal goals this year?
Well, I want to have the best possible season I can for not only myself but the team. I think I think my role on the team can be pretty influential at times. So I think, as a unit, I think we look really good. We've got all returning players. I've been working with Brian and Oscar a lot, and we look good as a unit. So I think we're going to have quite a successful season in that department. Yeah.
Have you kind of been keeping an eye on the place kicking battle at all? And any thoughts on that?
You got your boy right there next to you. So far in the spring, Brian looks like he's the man for the job. I've worked with him for quite some time, and I have a lot of confidence in what he can do. I can't wait to see what he can do this season. I think he's going to have a great year. Yeah.
Anything else for Oscar? No? All right.
All right, show's over. All right, cool.
But again, take a look at the schedule. We've got the first portion of practice open both Friday and Saturday.